Hello and welcome to State of the Economy. Today we have with us a very senior industrialist, Mr. Baba N Kalyani, Chairman and Managing Director of the Kalyani Group, and his group companies have shown excellence in engineering way back in 1961 when they launched Bharat Forge. And we'll be discussing with him a whole range of issues from why is manufacturing down today to what should policy do to boost the economy and GDP. Welcome to our show,
Thank you.
Mr. Baba Kalyani. Your industry in some ways represents, it's a bellwether industry, engineering, forging. So you would be the best person to really talk about what's going on with India's manufacturing. Why is our manufacturing down to some 1%, 1.5% growth from expected 10% plus, which we used to get? What's gone wrong?
Yeah, I think it's an issue that has caught the imagination of a lot of people in this sector. But let's go back to 2 years when India announced its new manufacturing policy. The
Sure.
Prime Minister made an announcement that India needs to increase its share of manufacturing in the GDP.
25%.
Yeah, from 17 to 25% by 2022. That was
Sure, okay.
That was the, let's say, the time frame and parameters that was set. And if you look today, 2 years later, the 17% manufacturing share of GDP has now come to close to 15%. So
Actually, we have fallen since then.
Yes, we have fallen since then. So I think there is a need for introspecting what has really happened in the last some years. Part of it is, due to the overall economy itself being, let's say, slow or...
Yes, it has slipped by more than 3%, 4%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So part of it is, but that is not the real story. The real story is that on one hand, we have a policy that says increase manufacturing. That means you should produce more products in India and sell more products. We are not an export economy yet. We are largely an economy that is indigenous. So therefore, whatever you manufacture, you need to sell large part of it in India.
India, sure.
Now, if you take away this opportunity from the Indian manufacturing sector by giving this opportunity to somebody else outside, there is very little to manufacture.
In what way is that happening?
I will explain that. Now, let's take the classical sectors. Take the automotive sector. And if you look at the data of automotive sector, you will find that the Indian content of manufacturing of the automotive sector is not in line with the growth of the automotive industry in India, which tells you that there is a huge amount of imports that are taking place.
Could you give some numbers?
In that sector. I don't have numbers on the automotive sector, but I'll give you numbers on a totality basis.
Okay.
But this data is pretty much evident and available.
Okay.
Now, many of these imports are taking place because we have these FTAs
With Thailand and
with all kinds of countries with which favor imports, but which really don't provide any avenues for exports.
You're saying free trade agreements have been a bit premature, you're saying?
Free trade agreements are supposed to balance trade.
Yeah, okay.
Free trade agreements cannot become a backdoor entry point for somebody to get an added advantage at the cost of the domestic industry.
Domestic industry. Yeah.
Now, so this is one issue. Second, you take industrial products. Almost, if I take last 7 years, some $580 billion worth of industrial products have been imported into India.
Okay.
Now, even if half of that was manufactured in India, these are power plant equipments for railways,
Sure.
Defense related capital procurements.
More lately, things like coal also.
Yeah. So huge amount, but I'm not even talking commodities.
Even electronics, yeah.
But I'm not talking commodities. I'm talking about manufactured products.
Electronics, actually.
Yes,
yeah.
electronics.
It's a huge increase in imports.
Exactly.
Also.
So these are all manufactured products. And if you don't manufacture this in India and if you keep importing it, then there's nothing to manufacture.
Sure.
So fundamental reason why
So you're saying that the whole policy orientation has actually partly resulted in our manufacturing share coming down?
Matter of fact, the policy is good. The policy says we should increase our manufacturing, but there is no mechanism to implement the policy. And let me give you my take on.
And you're saying in some sectors, policy is actually running contrary to
Absolutely.
the manufacturing policy objectives.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you look at procurement tenders of any of the public sector or government establishments, it will have clauses that say you should have produced this before, you should have had the experience to make it. Now, India is a growing economy, lots of new things happening here.
Yeah.
How are Indian companies going to get any opportunity to manufacture something if you put conditions that you should have done it before?
Yeah.
These conditions are okay.
How do new people enter?
Yeah, exactly. These conditions are okay when you are a matured economy.
Yeah.
Okay, where there are already multiple
Basically,
players.
you're saying if you had put this condition to say Sunil Mittal of Bharti Airtel, he would never be able to enter telecom.
Exactly.
He had not done telecom before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, so there are, if you start putting restrictive processes, then on one hand you are saying manufacturing should grow. On the other hand, you are creating structures, policies and processes which it doesn't grow, it actually decreases.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
So this is one of the problems. Okay. So we have this problem on FTAs, we have this huge problem on imports.
So there's a disconnect between trade policy and the manufacturing policy.
And third, there is a structural problem. The structural problem is that we have 6 ministries in the government of India that deal with manufacturing.
Okay.
Okay, you have the Ministry of Heavy Industries, you have the Ministry of Industries, you have the Ministry of Power, you have the Ministry of Fertilizers and Chemicals.
Too many windows.
Again, you have the Ministry of Railways. They all do manufacturing. And you have the Ministry of Defense.
Yeah, this is very interesting what you're saying. We'll take a small break here. Please don't go away and keep watching. Stay with us. Welcome back to State of the Economy. We are having a very interesting conversation with the Chairman and Managing Director of Kalyani Group, Mr. Baba N Kalyani. So you were saying something very interesting. You were saying that there are 6 ministries that deal with manufacturing. Now, how does that hinder decision making? Because decision making has been at the center of a very raging debate last 2 years. People have been talking about policy paralysis and what have you.
You have a policy. I don't think we have a policy paralysis in manufacturing. We have a policy. It's been announced. It's been well articulated. The Prime Minister himself has announced it. Now, you need to implement the policy. Now, if you got 6 different apparatuses to implement the policies in 6 different directions.
Plus state governments.
Yes. How are you going to get a cohesive implementation?
Can I give you an example, a small example for your elaboration? Now, it's well known that India needs to probably double, treble its steel capacity, right? We are like way behind, say, China. And there are steel manufacturers waiting to put up plants, whether in Orissa, POSCO or wherever.
Right.
Now, why are we not able to clear mines or give manufacturers a fully cleared single window clearance for mines, etc.? What's the problem?
It's a very good question. First of all, as far as mines, minerals, and all those kind of things are concerned, you need to first give it to people who have invested.
Sure.
There are lots of us who have invested into steel capacities and we have no mines.
Yeah, sure.
Okay? And we are being
it's a big bone of contention.
We've been squeezed.
Some people have, some people don't
exactly.
have. Exactly.
So, it's not a level playing field. Now, if you are going to give mining or let's say mine rights to some newcomer, and here is somebody like me who has invested thousands of crores in the steel business for the last 15 years, and I don't get a single mine, I don't think I'm going to feel very good about this. So I think this is one issue.
Lack of level playing.
Yes. No, and lack of transparent decision making.
Mr. Kalyani, can I ask you something? Is there a kind of caste system that operates, say, in the way government treats policymakers, state or center? They treat businesses. I sometimes get the feeling that some businesses get a better treatment in India than the others. It's just a hunch. I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think there is a caste system. I think somehow our...
Like you said about mines.
Yeah, I'll come-
Why is it that some steel companies don't have mines?
Because the process is so complicated, and somehow our state government, central government seem to go overboard on bringing external investments.
Yeah.
I mean, there are lots of Indian businesses who also have capability to invest.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going and investing outside India.
Yeah.
So they have capability to invest. Give them opportunities. So you got to give your people opportunities. I'm not saying don't shut off external guys. Yeah, give them opportunities too. Coming to the mining issue, if you look at an iron ore mine, there are 76 approvals that are required for getting an iron ore mine.
76?
Yeah, 76 approvals.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah, starting from first getting an allocation from the state, then going through the straight bureaucracy, including forest, mines, all kinds of things, environment, etc. Then coming to the central government, getting approval from them, which then goes back to the state government for reapproval. Yeah, and this whole process can go on forever.
So why don't they give all the 76 approvals, put it in a bucket, and then place it before an auction, before the industry?
Yeah, that would be the best thing to do. I think the Supreme Court has also, in its judgments on the mine issues, have said that it would be a good idea to auction the mines.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's the right thing to do, but
that's not been happening.
Yeah, it's not happened.
Because even I must sort of bring to your attention the latest MB Shah Commission report. It is now saying that people who had mines, they had mined in excess to the extent of some 66,000 crore.
Yeah.
And there is some stunning figure that they are quoting that this excess mining needs to be sort of
controlled.
Or people who receive those mines need to pay for it or penalized.
I have read about that. But anyway, the long and short of all this is it creates a very unstable environment for investments to take place.
Okay.
All right? And therefore, coming back to the whole question why manufacturing is not growing. These are all the issues.
Do you also believe that we should ban iron ore exports when Indian industry needs so much of... There is this debate that why was Karnataka exporting so much iron ore to China? Why wasn't value being added in India?
I have a very simple answer to that. If you have a policy that says that you got 1.2 billion people and you need to create, 100 million or 200 million jobs over a period of time, the only way you're going to create jobs in this country is through the manufacturing sector.
Sure.
The IT sector is not going to create 100 million or 200 million jobs.
Yeah.
The only way the manufacturing sector can create these jobs is by increasing value addition.
Yeah, sure.
If I export the lowest value product, I'm not manufacturing anything. Okay? So therefore, I am completely against export of iron ore.
Okay.
You convert that iron ore, it's coming out of the ground, it's coming out of Mother Earth. You convert that iron ore that comes out into a finished product, you convert it, you increase value addition by 10 times.
So Mr. Kalyani, does the manufacturing policy, in which I'm sure you would have also given your inputs as part of CII representative, does it have does it say anything on value addition? I mean, it should say all these things, right? What you're saying?
Yeah, it says it does say that. It says that. It talks about value addition. It talks about creating new industrial clusters. It talks about creating.
But then again, the trade policy is somewhat in dissonance with the manufacturing policy. Is it?
You see, the question is, let's look at the manufacturing policy. It talks about all this. Everything is in there. New national manufacturing zones have to be created, etc., etc. Now the point is, let's take the defense. Now, okay, there is a huge amount of products that are used by the Indian armed forces and the defense
I'm
system.
told $100 billion worth of equipment we're going to import in the next 10, 15 years. Yeah.
Now, 70% of that is imported. Okay, how much of that is produced by Indian manufacturing sector, whether it's public or private?
That's a huge opportunity.
Yeah,
defense
exactly.
manufacturing.
Exactly, it's a huge opportunity. And you take any sector, take railways, take power plant equipment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, take every core sector which is really supposed to be the backbone of your manufacturing sector in any country.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't build that up, how can you be a economy that has dreams of becoming a superpower after 20 years or 30 years?
Yeah. Sure, we'll discuss this defense in a little more detail, but after a small break. Please don't go away and keep watching RSTV. Welcome back to State of the Economy. We are talking to Baba N Kalyani, Chairman and Managing Director of the Kalyani Group. You know, you're talking about defense. Now, defense is a huge opportunity for India, given the amount of projected imports that people talk about in the government by the Army, by Navy and Air Force, much more Navy and Air Force.
Right.
And as you said, at the moment, probably 80% or more being imported. Now, how do we do import substitution in defense? Now, this is a big debate which I have been sort of participating in at various fora. What's your sense? Because you are also into defense, since you are into forging.
Yeah, you know, I think what you say is factually true. At the same time, it's not rocket science of how do you take this huge opportunity that is available in manufacturing products for defense and create a national strategy of not only making India self-sufficient in defense and defense products, because I think that's important. We are never going to be able to make 100% of what we need, and that's not even necessary. You know, but even if you made 70% of what you need or 75% of what you need,
that's more than enough.
That is more than enough to create a huge hardware
ecosystem,
hardware capability, which will allow you to be a major power in this region.
And what is needed to do this?
Now, you know, today the policies are in place. Earlier there was no policy in terms of defense. So we now have the Defense Procurement Policy 2013, which the Honorable Defense Minister has unveiled in the middle of last year.
Sure.
The policy has very clear statements. Even this morning when the Defense Minister inaugurated the Defense Expo, he reiterated some of those policy statements. For the first time in the policy, there is a category called Make and Buy Indian.
Yeah,
Okay, which never existed in the past.
Okay.
And many of the products are
sounds good actually.
Yeah, sounds good. So many of the products are being moved to Make and Buy Indian. Okay, so on the policy front, I don't think anybody has any quarrel. I think it's a fantastic policy.
What about interaction with the defense bureaucracy?
And now the problem is, how do we implement the policy?
Yeah.
Okay.
That would require a kind of public-private partnership, right?
No, more than that, I think you need to make somebody accountable.
Yeah, okay.
See, if I was running an organization and if I had a certain policy that needed to be implemented, I will create an organization, I'll appoint somebody and make him accountable to deliver.
Okay. So
Now,
from the government side, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's on the ministry. They have to create the organization that is going to deliver who is going to deliver the policy? The problem in India is everybody makes policies and our policies are fantastic.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I can't find fault with any policy.
Yeah.
They are fantastic. But nobody creates an organization to deliver the policy.
Yeah.
You know, they just say the existing organization will deliver.
Yeah.
Now the existing organization has not delivered in the last 60 years. How is it going to deliver in the next 6?
So essentially what you're saying is that we need to reinvent the state actually. The state needs to...
We need to reorganize, we need to refocus, we need to create a new organization. It's like, you know, a country is also like a large corporation.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, when large corporations were 20 years ago, had a different kind of organization structure. Today they have a very different kind of organization structure. It's the need of the hour, you know, the technological challenges.
So capacity building is required in the government to implement policy. Yeah.
Yes, and accountability. Make somebody accountable.
But do you think all these legislations, you know, we've had this accountability debate in the last 2 years, and a very bitter one at that. People throwing mud at each other, accusing, you know, accusations flying across between ruling party, opposition, judiciary, government, civil society. Now, do you think a result of all this, we are getting a Lokpal, we are getting certain other transparency systems, right to information. Now, do you think all this will at some stage coalesce and give us some accountability in terms of governance?
I think.
Are you hopeful?
I think, yeah, I'm always hopeful of India. I'm a born optimist, so I believe India's time will come. Okay, it should have come, but somehow things haven't gone exactly the right way in the last few years. But its time will come. The question is, there is only one thing you need to do to create accountability, and that is measure everything on a time scale.
On a time scale.
Yeah. Now, any government decision, irrespective of whether it's positive or negative, needs to happen in 30 to 45 days.
Yeah.
Okay? You cannot drag on decisions for 30 months and 40 months and 6 years and 10 years. Okay? You say no? Fine.
But tell me, I can't quarrel with what you're saying, you have a point. But in a fractious coalition democracy like ours, coalition-run democracy like ours, if you take just the example of, say, foreign investment in retail, the government decided that, okay, let the states, in the interest of decentralized governance, let the states decide.
Right.
Now you have a situation where some states are implementing it, some other states, BJP states are saying no. Recently Rajasthan said no to FDI retail. Now how do you govern?
That's perfectly fine. At least you made a policy decision on retail. You gave the freedom to the states to say yes or no. Some states said yes, some states said no. So at least people know where they stand.
Okay, they know where they stand.
Okay, they can build their business models, they can build their business plans and get going with life. You have a defense policy. Now you need to do the same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
You have a manufacturing policy which the Honorable Prime Minister has announced. You need to do the same thing.
And so for mining policy also you need to do the same thing.
Yeah. So I'm not even saying that I'm talking about after you have made policy decisions. See, the whole issue of coalition politics, etc., comes before you make policy decisions, because that's where the problem comes. You want to go right, you want to go left, you want to go straight. This is decided by the politic.
The politics of the time.
Of the time, and what's happening.
Yeah.
But once having made the decision, I presume everybody is on board. Some of it are administrative decisions. Then you got to put a time frame to implement the decisions. Because if you don't put the time frame, you are in one way not doing disservice to this nation.
Yeah.
You are doing disservice to all the young people who are aspiring to improve their lives, who are aspiring to do something better.
Yeah.
And we have a large proportion of young people today in our society. Our demographics are changing. I think people need to start realizing this.
Sure.
So you got to put time, because time is value.
Time is value, yeah. Time and accountability. I think we will end our conversation with this. Thank you very much for talking to us, Mr. Baba Kalyani. That's all we have in this edition of State of the Economy. We'll be back with you next week. Thanks for watching.